Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. I'm Betsy Fiedler, and I'm senior faculty here at the LoVetri Institute, and I'm here tonight to talk with you about age-based parameters, part 2. So you may have gotten to see the level 1 age-based parameters. This is the same ages, same parameters, but we're going to go a little bit more into detail since now you're at level 2. So welcome. And if you would like to watch the level 1 video, please feel free. That link is also available. But let's go a little bit deeper. Right now I'm going to share the screen so that you can see what we're talking about in this age-based parameters for tonight. So let's start our slideshow from the beginning. Here we go. All right, there you can see that now. I'm going to raise this up just a little bit. So this can be found in your textbook at section 4 on pages 21 to 26. Let's start with anyone can be trained to sing. Yes, even those who are pitch weak. Maybe you've had people come and say to you, I can't carry a tune in a bucket. I can't tell you how many of my congregation from the choir or from my church have said to me, I could never sing in the choir. The people around me keep telling me to be quiet. You know, I only wish I could have a few sessions with them just to show them what they could possibly do. And here is something that I really like, because as we start getting up there in years, this is a comforting thought to know that anyone who has trained their voice professionally can expect that the voice will not show any signs of aging at all, as long as the physical health is good and the voice has been maintained through vocal exercise. So it's not a bad thing to just grow old. You're not going to lose your voice, especially if you stay healthy and keep singing. That's exactly what you need to do. So the first thing people always ask about is, what about voice lessons for children? Will I hurt them? And is it safe to give voice lessons to children? It can be a benefit to give some voice lessons to help a child sing well in school or church choir or a local musical. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and have told me, even my own mother has said this to me, you know, that somebody in their youth told them, oh, you don't sing well. Or in my mother's case, her mother accidentally was overheard to say, oh, it's too bad that Kay can't sing as well as her brother Anthony. So it's kind of a sad thing to have somebody say that to you at a young age. So a little training at a young age might be nice. So some of the things that you could work with these young people on are posture, breathing, singing in head register, diction. A lot of children have little problems pronouncing some words, so diction is good. Body awareness. You know, that's something that that some children need to learn, is where their body is in space and how it has relationship to everything. Musicianship is a great thing for them to learn at a young age. The child should sound age appropriate. You don't want them to sound like some adult version of whoever singing. And there are some great articles in the Journal of Voice on working with children. A couple of articles that actually Jeannie collaborated with her time when she was with the Brooklyn Youth Chorus. And if you go to her website, thevoiceworkshop.com, you can see some of these. I believe there was a study where they talked about different registers, working with children with registers. And there's another study about working with children on crossover styles. So these are some great tools for you to take a look at. For children below 5, I highly recommend musicianship programs, such as some of these that you see there. You might even want to think about piano lessons or group singing things. These are some possibilities. For children who are ages 6 to 8, the average untrained child, work on head register, posture, breathing. Watch them for tension. Incorporate their speaking voice on the lowest pitches, but bring them to head register on the highest. Play games like, now we're going to talk like an owl. Now we're going to talk like spooky monsters. So you can help them learn how to isolate registers with fun things. Have the parents supervise their practice sessions. Explain to the parents what you're doing with them. Their technical practice shouldn't be too long, 15 to 20 minutes. That's about all you're going to be able to spend on technical exercises with them. This is an important part, and I highlighted it in yellow. If a child is hoarse or you see signs of strain on their neck, have them see an SLP. And I can tell you this story. I have three wonderful brothers who've been with me for 2 years now. And the oldest is now going into ninth grade. So he started with me in seventh grade, and, very balanced voice. And his next brother underneath him, very hoarse, raspy voice. And then the youngest brother, who is now 8, who just started with me this year, another raspy voice. So they did go to see the SLP. They did have voice therapy with the therapist. And my job now is to continually help remind them how to balance their voice. I know part of it is because they're three brothers with two younger siblings than that, and they're always competing for their voice to be heard around the table. And so these are some things that you can be helping them with. And the two younger brothers, I have them watch themselves sing and just say, what does it feel like here when you sing? Can you see when it gets tight? What does it feel like? Can you feel if it's tight there? Can we make some smooth sounds, So we work together on that. For the child who's in a musical, which these three brothers are doing musicals at the local community theater, if they need to belt, work to free and lighten their production. You don't want them to always be in a heavy sound. Help them to stay connected to that bright forward speech, like, hi, how are you doing? That's a good place to be. Work from the speaking voice, but counterbalance it with some head register. Explain to parents about hyperfunctional high belting. You don't want them just to be in the theater and have the director say, sing louder, which the directors like to do. We need to help them save their vocal folds. Beware the lure of the child belter and the child soprano. In both cases, their instrument is shaped not by what it's going to naturally be, but by the singing that's done exclusively in one register to the detriment of the other. How do they know if they're only singing belty songs as a kid that maybe they missed a career as the next opera singer, or if they're only singing high Pie Jesu and things like that, maybe they might have missed an opportunity to do some CCM styles. So you don't want to pigeonhole them into one style or another. It's tempting to say, oh, I've got the next, you name the star, but you want to help our kids to have healthy voices that are going to last for their whole lifetime. So looking at ages 8 to 10, same advice as 6 to 8, but now they can have more range, more volume, more breath control, a little more time on technical exercises, that up to 30 minutes maybe, because they have a little more attention span, they have a little more strength in their bodies. You want to encourage their flexibility, their sensory awareness. Use humming, straw phonation, nasty sounds, things that can keep their voice balanced for them. Moving on to ages 10 and 12, mix things up, have some fun with them. You want to keep working on balancing the registers. Now you really can draw attention to their posture, their alignment, their awareness of their body. They can listen to all kinds of sounds, registers, vowel colors. How clear can they make the tone without pushing the sound? How can they make the sound stop without having that last squeeze of air at the end? You can help them learn how to coordinate and strengthen their ribs and their abs as they're doing breathing and singing. It's good to balance songs that the child likes to sing with songs that maybe they wouldn't do on their own. I love to use folk songs even sometimes in other languages. You could start as easy as Frere Jacques with the really young age, but at this age they can sing some of the folk songs from other countries, which is really fun for them to do. Be in touch with the parents. You always want to be on the same page with goals with them. Now talking about teens, 13 to 15. Most teens are fully grown. They're fully matured by this age, and they can safely work through all of the vocal development exercises. Begin slowly. Add difficulty a little bit at a time. CCM and pop rock singers should work on registers, balancing, until they can do some mix. I had a young girl come to me she was 15 when she started with me. Really strong belter, loves country music, very talented girl. So at her first lesson, she demonstrated for me the national anthem. sung at full belt. And then after she was finished singing that, her voice was hoarse. I said, how about if we learn a little bit about what mix is about, and then we can eventually strengthen that belt back up. You want to speak to the parents about vocal and oral parameters. What does that mean? How much are they using their voice? What is their vocal load? How loud are they speaking? Are they going to dances and football games and yelling very loud? Same thing was true of my little 15-year-old belter. And when she would come to me on Monday after a band competition or a football game, and she had no voice on Monday, we had a lot of stiff talks about that. She's conscientious, and she's really made strides now at age 17. Aural parameters. They're listening to their music. How loud is it in there? You don't want them to damage their hearing that young. These are the serious talks you can have with these teens at this age. How about their practice sessions? Have the teen practice in front of you. Say, okay, so now pretend I'm not here. How do you start practicing? And I can't tell you how many of the parents have actually typed to me and said, my little darling has said to me that, oh, I did practice today, when all they really did was went around singing some songs on here, none of the exercises we worked on. And so I'm always quick to say to them, they should be practicing with their recording, because on the recording we have 15 to 20 minutes of good, solid technical exercises that they should do every day. In my high school, which is the Arts Magnet High School, I ask them all to keep a practice journal. And I tell them the practice journal, I also do this with the community college voice class. I said, if you like writing, write it. If you hate writing, voice, just record it with voice memos, but write down, what does your voice feel like today? What kind of exercises did you do? What was it like after you did the exercises? What songs did you listen to? What songs would you like to learn? Keep all these kinds of things in your practice journal, not just, I practiced 15 minutes. Give me some detail. And that's actually part of their grade at both the high school and at the college. For boys and their voice changed, I talked a lot about that in the level 1 lecture, and there's some great recommendations in the textbook on page 24. What I can say about that is, be patient. It's a rocky time, and it can be different every day for them. But you could be working on mix with them, helping to balance, gently start to strengthen that chest register, continue to keep head register going. So make sure you read the text, because there's some great stuff in there. The young adult, the 16 to 20-year-olds, you want to work to develop their entire instrument. And you could start strengthening them in a specific CCM style. So my country belter, she loves country music, but she also likes some of the belty pop musicals that are out there. So, we're working on strengthening her voice. She wants to be a singer-songwriter. She's writing some of her own things. It's really great to listen to her. In this age group who are before they go to college, some of them who are thinking about pursuing a career in music or majoring in music, you want to have a talk with them about the limitations of different university programs. They may say, oh, I want to go to XYZ school, but then you might say to them, well, what kind of music do they study there? Is that the kind of music that you want to do? Is that the kind of program you want to be in? With this group, you want to get to songs as soon as possible. They really want to be in repertoire. But beware of extreme choices. We don't want to take them to the top of their belt range. We don't want them to necessarily doing Defying Gravity, or we don't need them doing the Queen of the Night aria at this age. Although I did have a 17-year-old who did want to work with me on that. And I said, well, we can listen to it, and let's do some of this other technique stuff to grow into that. CCM styles need chest register. They need to strengthen that chest register and make it flexible, and you can do that at this age. The belters, you can let them use a mic to prevent some vocal strain during their lesson and even during their practice sessions, but at some point you still do need to use the chest register. Jeannie always says, if people ask her, how do you take chest register higher? You take chest register higher. So it's a balancing act between, strengthening and not overdoing it. For musical theater kids who are interested in music theater, you really have to deal with type. You have to help them to learn to be realistic, because they're coming from a high school where maybe they're doing South Pacific. So you've got kids who are teenagers playing the dad or the older planter, or The same thing with any of the musicals now. And they have to know that type is going to be important. What kind, are they an ingenue type? Are they a character type? What does their body look like? Are they the hero type, or are they the kind of, you know, funny type? You just have to help them to understand that. Looking at the adults from 21 to 25, in the pro, don't push the voice all the time for volume, range, or vocal quality. You need balance again. Assist this artist in exploring their whole instrument and looking at other possibilities, but continuing to align with their goals and what they want to be doing. The adult beginner at this age, you still want to follow some of the basic early rules. Remember in level 1 we talked about the first 2 years and then after the first 2 years. But keep in mind with them, what are their personal goals? Is it a church choir? Do they want to sing karaoke bars? What are their goals? So you want to help them to realize that. In this group, the repertoire should be fun but not too difficult. So if they come into you with something that's harder than they're able to do yet at this age, back them off a little bit and say, we can work on that as time goes on. Ages 26 to 32 for the professional. They have a distinct style that they have in mind. They have their musical personality. So your job is to just keep their instrument balanced, free, strong. You want to communicate with them and guide them. I have a student in this age group who is also a singer-songwriter, and she has an active gig life, and she now also is a voice teacher. She's done some of Jeannie's workshops, and she just comes to me once in a while when she needs a little balancing. The beginner, in their first few lessons at this age group, work through a little bit of everything and then start towards their chosen goals. Keep the songs, again, simple. Anybody who's a beginner, you don't want them jumping into repertoire that's harder than they're able to do in their technical exercises. So for ages 33 to 45, again, the professional, whatever their needs are, that's what you're going to listen to. In the beginner, you don't want to just hammer and hammer and hammer into what one little piece of what they need. And maybe they need a lot of work on there, and you do want to wait for the bus, but you can't just spend all your time there. You want to balance, do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that. Select songs that are easy to do and build it from there. And as long as their voice is healthy, you don't have to only do technical development at the outset. You could start doing some repertoire as long as it's not harder than what they are able to do. I like this age. Ages 45 to 65, the pro, their voice is in their prime. Yes. With the professional here, you want to maintain their voice. You want to maintain their vocal technique. You want them to maintain their flexibility, their strength, and their endurance. I have a true confession. In this time of the COVID pandemic, I've been kind of in survival mode. I have not been doing as much as I like to do to maintain my own vocal technique. And, if I don't keep at it every day, I'll notice it. I'll notice that after a while. Physical exercise and health is a must for the pro. So they need to be working out. They need to be doing body work. They need to be paying attention to all of this stuff during this age group. Because again, go back to that first slide. If you're doing all of these things, you're not going to see the effects of aging on the voice. For the beginner or novice who's at this age group, they can do well if they're in good shape. If they're willing to practice, they'll advance pretty quickly. Be encouraging. Find out all you can about what they want to do and what kind of singing they love to sing. In the special case of menopause at this age, hormonal changes can have a huge effect on the singer. There's lots of great research out there now, more so than even the first time when Jeannie wrote this book. One of our own alumni wrote a book with 2 other colleagues called Singing Through the Change. And they also have a Facebook page just for that, and for women to share and talk about their experience and share with one another. Do I do hormone therapy treatment or do I not? And what are the pluses and minuses of each of those? And how will that affect the voice? For seniors who are over age 65, you want to adjust the exercises as needed for them. expect that it's going to take a little more time. Keep your expectations reasonable. Don't rush things. Lots of repetition. Be supportive. Cheer them on. Push them a little bit. Make them do a little bit further than the easiest sound that they can make, but then balance it off again and do something that helps them to stay balanced in their vocal sounds. Refer these people for body work and exercise to supplement what we're doing in singing, because you have to remind them the body is your instrument. And if you want that instrument to be at full capacity, you also want to be doing some of the body work. So we're going to finish up with what are the elements of a musically functional professional voice. This is it, people. This is our goal. These are the things that we want. Range, 2.5 octaves. Vibrato, consistent, unobtrusive, somewhere between 5 and 6 cycles per second. The voice can go from super soft to super loud over most of the range. The voice is recognizable and unique. It can stand up to stressors and under circumstances. Yeah, maybe you have a little cold. I still am going to sing that funeral, even though I have a cold. As long as I'm still healthy and it's not hurting, I can still sing it. You still want your voice to be clear, steady, resonant, flexible, strong. And then the last of these goals, undistorted or modified vowels without difficulty. If your vowel is starting to morph, something's getting unstable or tired. You want a voice that does what the singer intends it to do consistently without struggle. A voice that won't wear out quickly during normal use. A voice that doesn't distort or go off pitch accidentally. A voice that shouldn't be constricted unless it's done deliberately for style. Belting does require a little bit of constriction. A voice that isn't breathy, nasal, or noisy, except as intended. In certain styles of music, you want to have that rasp or that little bit of noise. This is the ideal. This is what we're heading for. Don't get discouraged if, like me, the COVID pandemic has made you a little flabby. Just get back off of that armchair and get back into shape. So this is the goal. And thank you for listening to our exercise here in Understanding Age-Based Parameters, Part 2. I hope you enjoy the rest of our institute here. If you have any questions, I'll be having office hours and you're free to ask me questions. Thank you. We'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.